All right, so today's video, we're watching a Silver Diva who pretty much wants to know what they got to do, and with tanking this season, I like the idea of looking at some tank games. Got two questions for you, chat, and then also one more thing about this game. One, what are more heroes you want to see spectating of? Sometimes we get a lot of the same heroes. Let me know so we can see if we get codes like that. Two, what maps do you want to see more of? Because there could be a variety of maps we look for. Let me know in the comments, please. Commenting in general is obviously really good on YouTube, so you know, whenever you do a video, all that, comments, like the video, sub to the YouTube. Also, this Diva's playing on a Steam Deck, and they say their monitor is the size of a postcard. So this should be very interesting. Let's see how this one goes. I'm ready. Here we go. So on Rio, when you're playing Diva, this is an okay starter spot. The only thing you want to make sure is that they don't get behind you underneath. That's what you got to look for, right? Because a lot of what will happen is, and I can already use the little draw thing right now, is as Diva, and I'll show you here very quickly because I can do this now. So yeah, a lot of what will happen is if you're going to play Diva on high ground, you're going to play high ground in general, the one thing you want to make sure that you deny is this entrance. Well, apparently sometimes when I do this, you get what I'm saying though. You see this whole area they're in? If they go that way, then that's not going to be good because then you lose map control and Diva can have it's hard to face tank it as much as you want to, right? So one thing I always say is just be wary of this little entranceway. I don't know why it does that there. I need to... Don't let him go underneath this Diva. That's the first step that I usually recommend there. But playing high ground is totally fine, especially when they're playing this, like, more ground-based comp to begin with, eating the Moira Orb. Chat recently said they didn't know you could eat the Moira Orb as Diva. You can eat the Moira Orb as Diva. It's gotta be interesting playing on, like, a screen that size, too. You said it's, like, the size of a postcard? Everything's got to be so close. Backing up is good here. Remember, don't face tank too much. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what's gonna happen here. You're gonna get rolled. You're gonna get absolutely rolled, like face tanked here if you do that. So when I'm saying like face tank, you gotta watch out for the face tank in here. All right. But yeah, next time in that situation, if you do end up losing like that high ground control, you just want to go, if you end up losing the point control, you want to go on the high ground. That's the best play that you're going to make at that point. You won't be able to face tank against them, and that's that. So just be wary of that when you're doing that. Now, Rio's one of those maps where it's okay to give up a lot of the space. There's this tendency sometimes in Overwatch to feel like you have to take away all of the map right away, especially on defense, but a lot of defense is also waiting for the right moments, right? And what I mean by waiting for the right moments is like, wait for that perfect opportunity to be able to take a team fight that works in your advantage rather than playing at the pace that the other team wants to play. So you stay on the ground right now, look behind you. You've been lamped, right? Now you're out of position for an ultimate. Now you already have the 20% heal reduction on you. Now you have no HP and your team can't keep up with you. And guess what? You have no lamp because you face tanked that. That's why I always try to get you in the mindset of like, try to, when you play Diva, play more high ground. Play more like you would play Tracer. And I know that's like, as a tank, you're not really in that mode of like, oh, that's what I want to do. And some of your teammates will also be like, hey, what are you doing? Be in front of me. Go up there. But the thing is that not every hero plays like Reinhardt. And a lot of players like the idea of playing behind a Reinhardt, so whenever there's another tank, they want you to still play that playstyle of Rein, but you're not doing that as Diva. You play more like Tracer. Heck, Wrecking Ball. I always say Wrecking Ball, you want to play like Tracer. Play high grounds above them. Choose your moments. You have a good amount of burst damage. You can eat damage from different angles. You don't have to be in front of the Ramatra. Plus, you can't face tank this Ramatra. This Ramatra will be able to roll you a lot of the time. Obviously, right now, your team's going in on the Ramatra, which is going to get the limb, but that hasn't been happening the most of the game. Now, back up. Now, fly up high. Fly up to your top right. Just make it a good habit, right? Go like this. Up here. Stay up here now. Play an angle. Look down and over. See what you can do. Plays like that are really what's going to benefit. But if you end up just doing this, like, play on the ground the whole time as Diva, then you may as well play a hero that has a better kit for that. You don't need to fly in there. Remember, Defense Matrix has an angle to it, right? A lot of people, like, feel like they need to be directly in front, but, like, just to give you an idea, and we'll see what the green screen does here when I draw on it. If you DM Defense Matrix right here, this whole area will be DM'd. They don't even have to see you, and they'll get zero value out of that. Obviously, there's a little bit of, they go above you, your defense matrix, but you see this area right here? How like you're not even seen here. If you just use your DM, that window loses half of its value, if not more. And this is what I mean by Diva, where you don't have to play in front of people, but your teammates want you to play in front of them a lot of the time, so you have to find that balance, obviously. But this is what I mean. Like, if you look at this, right? And the arrow's going to move with this. If you look at this, you're here, you're in a safe spot, they have lamp, your DM will pretty much take care of all of this area with this arrow, and your teammates will be fine. But now your teammates are running at you. Now they're like, oh, I have to get to my tank, I have to play around my tank, and that becomes a part of the problem sometimes, is players really want to just have their tank be right in front of them, but it's a playstyle adjustment that, like, pretty much both players will have to make, is your team will have to understand that there's a good chance, wow, that is going to get people. I can't believe that got one. Nice remake there. And there you go. And keep in mind, all that play happened without you being right in front of their team, right? You hid behind a wall. So this is why I'm saying don't do this. Back away, back away, back away, back away. Don't get yourself to 100 HP and then back away. There's too much healing reduction right now. Obviously, if there's no one shooting at you from a DPS point of view, you're fine in that sense. But until they add, like, a system in place, you don't even know if you have 20% damage reduction on you, which I've already talked about should be a thing. People are like, what do you mean? Just, like, what if you're always at 20% damage reduction? I can tell you right now, if I am playing against a team and I realize I don't have 20% healing reduction on me, I can play it a little bit more aggressive before I have to go and hide behind cover. If I'm at the 20% healing reduction on me because DPS will shoot you once and get it on you, then I have to play a little bit differently and safer than what I do, right? You see what I'm saying with that? So, as Diva, constantly trying to find ways to not take that early poke damage. Your supports will love if you don't take early poke damage. Like right now, you just took 300 unnecessary damage. Side note, if your supports do need L charge, sometimes your supports will say, hey, I need L charge. Or if they're not saying that, you can hit tab, see what their percentage is. If you see them at like 70, 80%, then you can go and take a little bit of that damage to your teammates early on to get their support L so you have them before a team fight starts. So, as you can see, when you play Diva, there's a lot to it. That's what I'm trying to get at here, is I want you to get in the habit of not playing Diva like you play Ryan. Fly up to the high ground. Fly up to the high ground. Fly up to the high ground top left right now. Go top left. You haven't gone high ground essentially once. Obviously, it's probably one or two times, but high ground is going to be your best friend here. And the reason why is because, once again, if you're up here, right? See? If you're up here, look at the angles that you can take on them, right? So let's have an example. There's a DPS right here, okay? And you're up here, you have an angle on them that you can see, and they can only see you partially. They have to worry about the move that you're making the whole time, where you can dictate when you want to go and make that play. You see what I'm saying? That's why, like, high ground is Diva, whether it's here, over here, I'm just putting random spots with the lines. Anywhere around there, you now have a slight advantage over them because you can dictate the pace. If you're just standing on the ground right here where I'm circling, see that? If you're just sitting there the whole time, they're going to roll you, and then by the time you fly out, right, you're at 300 HP. Now your supports have to use lamp on you. Now your supports have to overextend. Now they have to use their swift step, their Suzu, because you are taking fights where you're not supposed to as Diva, when in reality, especially on a map with high ground, will benefit you, benefit your team, and give you opportunity. I know I talk about high ground a lot, but I'm trying to show you here, like with this image, the importance of what that high ground can do. Now, if I just took this out of context and just showed you this picture, you'd be like, what in the world does any of this mean? But that's why the video explains that, but still. Anyway, so yeah, I definitely think you would definitely benefit from straight up just like not playing on the ground the whole time. Like, I would tell you that right now. You would probably benefit from not just sitting here on the ground the whole time. Your teammates would love it too. Eat the healing orb. I know that healing orb went by you. It takes a half of a second to eat that orb, and that orb can bounce back and heal somebody and save them sometimes. Okay, good job there. Now go high ground. This is what and I know you're probably not going to go high ground here, but I want to get you in the habit of going to the high ground as the default after a team fight is won, okay? And it doesn't mean it's always going to be the best spot. It doesn't mean your teammates are going to follow you. It doesn't mean you're going to play perfect. But getting in the habit of going in these, like, good spots in the map will get you... You'll just start to do it more naturally and do it more often. That happens with me now with cover. I've had to adjust my play style, and you've probably seen some of the tournaments we play, matches, like, ranked games. Like, we've had a lot of competitive games, but you notice that sometimes I just have to stop for a second and hide behind a wall. So, the better starting position you have, the better decisions you can make overall. Actually, that might actually be a good ult. Nice ult. I actually like that. That was a good ult. And one thing I will say is impressive that you're making a lot of these, like, plays that you're doing on a Steam Deck, in which you said you have a monitor to the size of a postcard. So, it's also cool that you can play Overwatch on a Steam Deck now. I keep forgetting that's also a thing now that Overwatch is on Steam. I want you to take note of how many times you took high ground on second point here. Win or lose on this hold, I want you to take note of that and realize how much you've put yourself in not an advantageous spot. Your team just came from the high ground. Now you have to react to what they're doing. They're making plays first. Another thing I want to teach you here with Diva is I explain this, and if you watch me do the live spectating I did that one time with SVB on Diva, sometimes in Diva, your other teammate becomes the tank, and you need to recognize that. Now, it just happened to your BAP, and it's about to happen to your Kiriko. What I mean by that is you have damage and HP, armor, mobility, but you also have one of the strongest abilities in the game, even more so now that shots are hitting more often, more accurate, larger hitboxes. In this situation, because of the numbers you have, you're no longer the tank. See, you're right here. Oh, well, apparently the thing's doing it again. You're right there. Okay. Point being is this is now the tank. I love how it does this. I'm just going to draw this here. The Kiriko becomes the tank in this situation. I love this scuffed, like, I don't know why it does it. It looks like I drew a tie. It literally looks like I drew a tie. Point being here is you're not the tank in this situation. The Kiriko becomes the tank. You let the Kiriko stay alive by acting like they're the tank with your defense matrix. They can heal you up during this, and if you survive this, you have a retake and a possibility. If you watch a lot of, like, top 500 games, the reason why we have, like, team fights that seem lost won is because of the commitment and the idea that the target priority changes. So, either you get on the target in the backline, or you go, okay, my Kiriko's on the tank, I keep my Kiriko alive, that gives this teammate an extra second to get back. Our Kiriko survived this because they can TP to the teammate. I'm now at good HP because my Kiriko was able to keep me alive. And then now your teammates are back and everybody is able to retake a team fight. They've overextended for limbs, and then you hold. The point I'm trying to make here is at a certain point, you need to recognize that your team has now become the tank. And then you go back and play that, and then go back into tank mode after. Some of your teammates will probably say something like, why aren't you up there tanking? But I'm telling you right now, that's more than likely they don't even see what's happening in the game, and they're just assuming that you're not tanking because they see you in a 1v4 by yourself. Anyway, that's a little bit of a side note and kind of like advanced tactics to Diva, but I think it's good to note that, and even if you can start to go from doing that 0% of the time to 20% of the time, it's already going to be improvement, and I'm sure your teammates will love you for a lot of that. I feel like Rio, you might lose a little bit of value on Diva. At the same time, I have like a 65% win rate right now in games on Diva. You can make it work as long as you're willing to understand the ways that you need to play the hero on each point. Diva on this point, no face tanking. Problem is, you've been face tanking. But they have a ball now, so they don't have Ramatra, so you can get away with playing a little bit more in the middle, I guess you could say. Like, see how their ball's just running at your team? That was you before that. Be careful. Be careful. Nice. Good job. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to what I was saying. You're just good on location, by the way. You don't really play anywhere but like in front of them. You play like you would play Reinhardt. And I really think as a player you would benefit from just understanding a little bit more of taking the high grounds and taking angles. Angles are where you're not directly in front of them. I think we have a YouTube short, TikTok coming out soon that kind of shows you what some of the terminology is and kind of what angles are. But like basically an angle is just don't be directly in front of them, play at an angle where they have to turn and look at you. When you do that, you're gonna be in a better spot. You go, well, I'm a tank. Once again, tank can play like you would play Tracer. So if you know how to play Tracer, you understand how Tracer works, imagine playing a tank like that, and you'll start to figure out Wrecking Ball and Diva's playstyle a lot more in these games. Remember, you can eat the Junkrat passives? Okay. I always joke about it, by the way, and we just saw it happen. Are you ready? See the passive that Junkrat drops? This does damage. If you are on Diva, I think you can do it as Sigma if timed correctly. You can eat these, which will save your teammates. Your teammates will not die. You just stare at them. Don't DM them. Watch your teammate. Gets rolled by him. That's why I always do it, just in case your teammates don't see it or if they run into it. So be very careful of that. You know, your Sombra was like, you know what? I got you. That definitely isn't because their name is Got You. You get that? Because the name, you see that? Their name was Got You, so I went with that exact name at the same time. It's pretty sweet, huh? See how your attack is. Pretty good defense. Once again, I think your biggest issue, though, is you need to play Diva like Diva. Which would be more about map control, high ground control, taking angles. You don't have to face tank all the time. Doesn't mean like You can't face tank. It just... It's very dependent on who you're playing against. Like Roadhog, you don't face tank here. Unless you want to get hooked for one of your teammates. Okay, if you ever hear that sound of Roadhog going for a hook, look at the Roadhog. That's how you save your teammates from getting hooked. You didn't even react to that. Getting slept? Okay, now you need to focus. I'm gonna pause for you in a second, okay? Ready? This is... I'm gonna do something. This is me right now, if I'm playing. I'm gonna tell you exactly who I'm looking at right away. I already know who I was looking at. First hero I'm looking at here, believe it or not, is not the Roadhog. Please work. It's the Ana. Now, what do you watch for the Ana? Two things. Sorry, I put one finger up. Two things. One, if they're healing, you can DM the heals. Two, the animation of a sleep or an Ana grenade. You eat that from Ana, they lose a lot of their value. So I would watch for that and angle that because the Roadhog is not going to be an issue now. It's just getting your Reaper out and watching for the Ana. That's my first reaction. Second reaction, I'd look at this area where the Junkrat is. And then, once I know the Hog's cooldowns are back up, I would have Hog take a little bit of priority on that, just to save my teammates. But Ana would be number one for me. Roadhog and Junkrat would kind of be number two. It just depends on a few things. All right? I just want to give people kind of the vision of what I see here. Now, we'll see how you react to it and all that, but... Also, hope you like the on-screen effects we can do sometimes. And I'm not using the green screen directly during this. It's just... Believe it or not, we're actually recorded. This is one of our first recorded spectators not on stream. I wanted to see how it was. So this is a little bit new. So I'm just kind of like... going more into like just editing or not editing, kind of like hecking around with the surface we have now to be able to do that. So yeah, all right, let's continue on, see how this goes. Ana is your first reaction. That's good. Now you go back to Hog. Now you're back to Hog, or that gets the cast out of position. Yep. Now you're tunnel vision. You've lost vision of what you were looking for there. You got tunnel vision and you got DMAC. Tunnel vision is where you just focus on one person the whole time and then don't look elsewhere and forget that anybody else in the game is actually there. That was what the problem you ran into, but hey, sometimes you go Baby Diva, you pop on. Good job. Remech right now. Don't risk like the, oh, are you going for this? Okay. By the way, I know you had a little bit of time in there. I would recommend you remech that almost immediately. There are timings where you might think that's safe. You peek around the corner. That Ana on the right-hand side runs over, throws a random sleep dart at you. Someone comes back and two-shots you. I've had it happen before, so just be careful of that. Yeah, you were fine, but it's just getting in good habits, right? Sometimes, like, some of the little things that I point out, you might be like, well, that's not much of a big deal. But, like, that is how you develop better habits in game, which will then lead you to being a better player, because it's just something you're doing almost like, you're not even having to think about what you're doing, right? Obviously, you went at a Roadhog there, got rolled, it happens. Like, you start to think about, like, how do I explain it?
They're counting on me.
Like, the less you have to think about what you have to do in Overwatch, the better you'll play. But that's, like, the step-by-step process. And that's what I try to, like, bring up some of these, like, small things, because then you have to think about that stuff less, because it just becomes something you do, and then you become a lot better. My aim gets a lot better when I don't have to think as much. Believe it or not. Huge Reaper ult. Okay. Problem here. I want to point out, you're going to win this team fight, but remember what I talked about with good habits? When your Reaper ults that, you DM your Reaper. Your Reaper, remember we just talked about earlier? Your Reaper is now the tank. You help your Reaper. You don't go and shoot other people for a second. Your Reaper is now the tank because that will keep your Reaper alive, put you into good habits, and then you'll still follow up on the elims after because they're not gonna, they already used their Ana grenade. That's it. Getting those good habits. Hey, you almost went high ground there. That's a step in the right direction. Ult over the bridge here. It's a good spot. Top right, top right, top right. You got about a 3-second window, otherwise you're losing it. Okay. Those are the opportunities you need to see as Diva. This is the ult you went with. You're gonna get somebody, aren't you? Nope. Oh, even better. Wonderful. That makes sense. I don't even know where to go with that one. That's just one of those, it worked, it works, but take those time-ins. That's always not gonna, I can't believe you got away with that. I'm gonna be real with you. Nice play, but holy crap. That was something. Because you ulted right in front of their Ryan, too. Ryan's good target priority. Ryan is good target priority. Remember, now your focus is watching. Something that you'll see me do when I'm playing Diva is and this goes back to face tanking, by the way. If you just fly up here and you do the same thing, you're fine. When I see a tank's low and I know I can't finish the kill, I go into defense matrix mode is what I call it, where I start to DM the heals on the Ryan, so it gives my teammates opportunity to keep the damage on them, and especially now with the 20% healing reduction from DPS, that can guarantee you a team fight win, or force them to use ultimates. Obviously, they use that ult. Instead, you're on the low ground, you get charged, you lose your suit, and you go back to spawn. So, that's why I want you to get in the habit of taking those high grounds more, and then turn it into like, okay, I'm in defense matrix mode now. And this is the tank. This is the target priority for my team. Sometimes you won't be able to secure the elims as Diva, and that's okay, but you can secure the elims for your teammates. And remember, it's a team game. So that will help you, It will benefit your teammates. You help your teammates. It also helps you out. All right, here we go. Now remember, you're tunneled so hard on the Tracer, but you're not worried about your supports for a second. Do you see what I'm saying here? High ground. You hear the Rhine top left. Top left. Now go top right where the Reaper is. You want to go above. Do not face tank the Rhine. DM the heals now. This is where you would DM heals. This is a perfect opportunity. Now they're full HP because you weren't DMing the heals. You see what I'm saying? Just to reference again, Defense Matrix is DM. You can eat heals. You can eat Ana heals. You can eat Kiriko heals. You can eat BAP heals. You can eat Moira Orb. Pretty sure you can eat Lifeweaver heals. I can't remember, actually. That's just because I don't play against Lifeweavers. I think you can eat Lifeweaver heals. Obviously, you can't, like, heal, like, Mercy Beam, Moira, Brig packs, etc. But, like, you can eat a lot of heals. That should be more than enough to help you solidify an limb. Diva is about a balance of both damage and defense matrix management. If you can do both of those, you'll be in a really good spot. As well as, like, taking, like, you know, realizing you're not playing Reinhardt. Things like that. Nice eat. You know? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I have to show you what just happened, chat, because if this happened the way I think it happened, this is amazing. The Junkrat goes up into the air to get away from your ultimate. Goes on the roof. Your BAP, yup. Your BAP gets the elim. You jump over to get in your suit, and you get rolled. You don't see that too often. That's one of those funny moment video situations. I love that. That's great. Heck yeah. Now, here we go. No, you almost got to high ground. Okay, I want to point something out there. All you did was shoot at the BAP. You didn't, I mean, on the BAP, at the Tracer. You didn't try to save your BAP. Your BAP could have easily gotten rolled there, and instead you prioritize that damage. Also remember, you're not Reinhardt, you're Diva. I like playing against Ryan as Diva, but I don't face tank the Ryan as Diva. It's all about playing that distance, playing above them. Look at you now. Look what you've done. Yep, and now you're out of suit. Now your teammates had to use an early lamp. You see what I'm saying? How you were playing into a Reinhardt, and you're going, hey, Ryan, I'm going to play the exact same way that you're playing, but you're going to have a better go of things because I am playing into you. You're not playing into me. And you need to make that go the other way. You need to switch that style around to be able to benefit you. And that's why your team has struggled here. Not specifically fully on you, but you've struggled because you're not given the opportunity for your team to, like, save their cooldowns. Good pile drive. That's a good Junkrat trap. Can't do anything about that. A tire is there. Oh, it's so close. Wow. And just like that, you see? So, just to point something out here, I think you're going to lose this. Your team should have easily had an opportunity to at least get the third point. I won't guarantee a win. Instead, you spend so much time trying to get to the team, right? So much time just trying to get to the team and, like, just, like, basically just sit there and face tank a Reinhardt that you gave them about 4 minutes of just free team fights over and over again. So, biggest focus for you as a player. Also, I will say, by the way, for playing on, like, a really small screen, I was super impressed with, like, the mechanical side of things. Obviously, there's going to be some missed shots, you know, movement here and there. But I want you to start focusing on high ground if you're playing Diva. I'm telling you right now, get in a good habit of that, and you will see a positive results in your games. And also, it's not all about damage as Diva. This goes for any tank. Protecting your teammates and keeping your teammates alive also benefits you. Your teammates keep getting picks. Your teammates keep winning team fights. You also pop off. So prioritize playing with your team, defense matrix in your team, playing angles, play high ground. You're going to see a huge bump, I think. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to all 3 YouTube videos, leave a comment, just to leave a comment. We record these generally live on stream. I know I usually say that, but we record these, if you want to submit your own spectating, look in the description below. We stream a ton, so if you haven't stopped by the stream, make sure to do so. We have a lot of fun. It's really great. We've been doing a lot more stuff with chat too, which has been awesome. And with that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.